and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today we are looking at some of the lovely things in the Sale-A-Bration brochure. This is a brochure that runs from the 3rd of January to the 31st of March, and you can earn products for free. So who doesn't like things for free? So today we're looking at... There's some lovely things in there. You have two different types of like level 1, level 2. So for £45 that you spend elsewhere in the annual catalogue or the mini catalogue, you can get one item in here for free, which has one of these purple stickers. So you can have the little meerkats, which we were doing the other day. You can have the lily pad stamp. Lots of things. We are looking at this one, which I think is absolutely lovely. So it is the happy birthday to you, and you've got these lovely floral images on a cake, happy birthday, little sort of sprinkles celebrating to you. So we're looking at that one for a £45 spend, for perfectly free. And we are looking at these lovely papers. Now, Golden Honeybee Speciality Designer Series paper. It's gold foiled on one side. It is monochrome, black and white on the other. Lots of different patterns. And I wanted to show you a way of doing a card just using this Designer Series paper and this stamp set. Where have we got it? It's in on here. This stamp set, and I'm making a fun card. So we've got the happy birthday stamp set, and you can stamp this image out. It is a large sized image. So if I show it to you, it's not a small image. We now have coordinating dies. So if you wanted the die, you can order that as well. There will be details down to my website, which has all of the details of these products. But this one measures, what are we talking about? It is 3.5 inches by, yeah, it's 3.5 inches. So it's a good size. And I've got it on one of our largest blocks. However, we are just going to get the flower images from this. So if you take, I'm just going to take a little piece of scrap copy paper, and if you want your work surface to be saved a bit, just pop that down. And I'm only taking a scrap because I want this floral image. I've done these two before. So just with some good black ink, all I'm going to do is to ink up this little piece on here because I don't want any more than that. And then that is going to come down in on here like that. And so we've got that little flower on there. And if you want to get the other ones on, if you just, again, just be a bit sort of careful with your inking up of the flower. Like that, and then so that one's going to come at that sort of angle. I don't know whether I'll get both of those in on there, but we can have a little go and see. And yes, you've got the other two flowers on there as well. So you can see how you can get them onto little tiny scraps, and that's all we want at the moment for this. So let me get my Simply Chamois and just clean this off. You can obviously do the cake and build up the layers of the flowers on the cake, but I wanted to do something that was going to be just a little bit different. As you know, I try and use my stamps that I get in as many ways as I possibly can to give you inspiration and also show that you don't have to do what is the obvious. You can do some other things as well. So we have taken this one, and we are going to then, I wanted to use a piece of the Designer Series paper, and we're using this one, which has the gold foil on it in stripes. The other side has a really lovely floral image, which you can colour in. And I'll just show you on here. This is, I coloured it in very simply, just with some of our blends, and have just sort of taken different tonals. So I thought we would probably do something with that later on, but that's the flip side of the paper that we're using. This, obviously, the blends run through. we are going to be using this lovely foiled side. So let's get down to doing a little bit of colouring on this. Let me turn my bit of scrap over a bit so you don't have to see the bit I've already stamped. And we're just going to concentrate on this one. And I am using the light and the dark in the crumb cake. Then I'm going to use the ivory and the bronze. So all of the sort of neutrals, because I want to get a sort of slightly sepia type card. So I'm going to just show you this one very quickly, because as you know, when I colour, I try and do it in as simple a way as possible. So you can see where these little dark pieces are at the bottom. Those and the little lines, I'm just going to just colour those little pieces in very sort of quickly, just using the blends. As I say, I'm no expert in the blends. And then I am going to colour in the whole of the leaves. And this is just in the bronze. So I'm just taking that. As you know, I dot along. And then the bottom of these ones that are just going to be a bit darker. So there's a leaf on here. We'll colour this one in the bronze. And then we'll colour this one in the bronze. And then, as I say, you can turn it around. We'll colour that one in the bronze as well. So our leaves are in the bronze. Like that. And then we can, in fact, I might do these in the middle one. So that's the bronze. Then I'm going to take the ivory, because I quite like that one, because it's almost sort of like a slightly sort of pale pinky colour, and I'm just going to colour in all of the leaves straight over the top, because that will blend in the brown that we've done. And again, I'm not spending a huge amount of time on it. You can obviously spend a bit more than me, and as I say, I do tend to do it fairly lightly. Down on this one. So this is the ivory. It's funny, isn't it, when you're colouring, you always sort of go into that slightly sort of quiet zen zone, because you're just concentrating on the colouring, and I do find colouring very relaxing. So you just go very sort of quiet and relaxed with it. Now we'll take these ones as well, just up in like that. Okay, so that's that one. Then I'm going to take the light crumb cake, and I'm just going to give that just a little bit of shadow down in on there, just on the little bits of these ones on here, and you can just sort of dot it about. As it dries, it'll just give just a little bit of tone of shading on there. Okay, and then I think just with the dark crumb cake, trying to get the lid off. I do struggle getting these lids off. They are so stiff for me. Right, we'll have to use the other side. I'm just going to take a little bit at the bottom. As I say, they haven't designed these very well if you've got slightly sort of arthritic hands, which I have, so I do struggle with them, but I persevere because they're very, very good. They just need to probably sort the caps out a bit to make them easier. So now I'm just going to take some paper snips, and we are going to very quickly, now this is done, I've used heavy Whisper White for this, so it is quite thick, but we're just going to quickly cut it out. You can see that it's not too complicated to cut it out, because the leaves are quite forgiving, and if you don't get it completely right, it doesn't really matter, because we're going to be layering them up, and the cardstock that or the pattern paper we're using has got white on the background. So if you're using something that is a different colour, so doesn't have white, then you need to be a little bit more careful with your fussy cutting. If you're just doing something where it's going on to white, then, you know, don't be overly hard on yourself if you just don't get it completely out. So for example, round here, I'm just doing this round slightly over where it is, so I make sure I'm not cutting it out. I'm going to take it off of here because it's easier to do it on a little bit, and then just turn it round on here. And these tiny little ones on here at the top, those little berries, again, you don't need to take all of them out, just sort of rotate it round a bit. Because if you realise, when we have our dies, most of our dies don't cut it out completely and will leave a little slight white shadow line. So by doing it like that, it's easier to do. If you really struggle with fussy cutting and you're a die lover, then go ahead and get the dies, because there's coordinating dies with this and it'll save you the time. However, I wanted to show, if you're starting out and you haven't got all of the bits and pieces and you don't want to invest in another or a die set, then you can see it didn't take me very long to cut that out. Okay, so I have already done Blue Peter style, or, you know, beforehand, so you don't have to see. I've done 2 of the large ones and 2 of the small ones already. And I have taken in this set as well, we've got, we could have done Happy Birthday. I thought Celebrate would be quite nice. And all I've done is stamp that out and then very crudely sort of just cut round it, so that then it'll go on there. I did think about stamping it directly on, and I will show you, I did it as an example. However, the gold to me, you can see on here, the gold just actually detracts from it too much, so I wanted it to stand out a bit more. So I have taken a piece of neutral, and this is Early Espresso, because I wanted the dark on there, and then I have got the piece of cardstock to go on there. So we're just going to take some of our Tombow, which, as you know, is my absolute favourite. It goes perfectly on absolutely everything, apart from vellum. Vellum probably is a little bit, but vellum's difficult with most things. It'll show through because vellum is designed to be see-through. But, you know, if you don't use tons of it, because it is very, very strong, it doesn't show through. It doesn't make a mess. It actually is just absolutely brilliant in my opinion. So there we go. We've got that on there. Then I am going to put the Celebrate down at the bottom, and I am going to put that down with wet glue as well. And as I say, I've just fussy cut it out because I could have used dies and things, but I wanted to show you that if you haven't got dies and you want to do something fairly simple, all you need is a pair of scissors. Our paper snips are really good. I use them a lot. So those are the paper snips that we do that are absolutely brilliant. Very, very sharp pointed tops. Or you can use, I mean, these are just a pair of other paper snips in there, whatever you fancy using, as long as it will cut out for you. And then I'm just going to put this at the bottom. Now I'm choosing to do the sentiment first because I want to line up the flowers so that they come in sort of a half circle. So I'm going to sort of take this probably from the top. I always, as you know, line everything out first of all. So let's put these ones next to each other like that and have this one at the top. Don't really want them. I want them sort of coming next to each other, but I don't want them completely over the top. So I think probably a bit like that. And I am going to use dimensionals on them. Now I've just got minis out at the moment because I haven't got my larger ones or standards there, but the minis are perfect as well. You don't need a huge pile of them. Just sort of put a few on there and as I say, the nice thing about all of our products really is, you know, the dimensionals, they do stick. You know, you can get them from other suppliers and things, but in my opinion, they are very good. Now we're going to do that with a little bit of height on there, and then we're going to take this one and do exactly the same. So just pop some dimensionals on, and again, you don't need a huge amount. Let's put 4 on here, I think will work. Take the little pieces off. If you find them sticking, they're difficult to put off, particularly the small ones, put your nail in the centre. It does help to lift them up a little bit. But they are quite easy to do. Okay, so we're going to have this flower with the leaves at the bottom, that at the top, and I'm just going to put it touching but not going underneath, because I want as much of the leaves to be showing as possible. Then we'll just take this little one, put those on there, one down at the bottom. I think 4's about right for these ones. Take these out. I like sometimes doing things in what they call monochrome, or in colours that are just, sorry, I'm concentrating just for a second to get that up on there, or colours that are tone on tone or neutral sometimes. I think it's lovely to do bright coloured cards, but again, I was showing a masculine card the other day, and I must admit, sometimes it's quite nice to do something which isn't completely sort of grunge. I do like the grunge look as well, but is that sort of sepia type colour in here, and I think that looks just really rather pretty. Now, if you wanted to bling it up a bit, you could add a few. We've got these, let me get my little packet of things out. We've got these rather lovely, where are they? The little metallic pearls, and a little metallic pearl in the centre of these would probably look rather nice. In fact, I might actually do that to just finish it off. I think that will work quite nicely. So I'm just going to take my little take your pick tool, and we'll have just a little whoops, pick it up, and we'll put it in the centre. Down like that. Two. Three. 3. 4. I'm putting them sort of fairly low on the bottom of it, so you've still got the inside sort of stamen part showing. But I think just doing that just picks that up and takes it up just another level. And again, very simple and easy to achieve. So there you are. I'd mount it onto a piece on a white card base. Have I got any white card bases about? I probably have. I normally have some knocking about. So let's just put this quickly onto there like that. There you go. and you have a really rather pretty card on there. In fact, I probably wouldn't do it on the white. I'd probably take it onto crumb cake, would look quite nice. So I should probably put it onto a crumb case base. But another sort of simple card using things just from the Sale-A-Bration, apart from our inks. So thank you so much for watching me. Do look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.